And a good afternoon to you. It is approximately a little bit after noon Pacific time on this 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. This is, of course, the day that we as Americans celebrate our Independence Day, the day that the Declaration of Independence was adapted. And this happened as a very shock to the British Empire because we had the 13 American colonies, and the British Empire had territories all over the world. At one point, the British Empire was the biggest empire in history, covering 1/4 of the available land in the world. And so when the 13 American colonies said, hey, we are no longer part of that, we are going to form our own nation, the United States of America, well, obviously, there was trouble. So the 13 American colonies decided that they were going to be independent, and that's why we celebrate today. The Declaration of Independence was adopted by the Continental Congress, setting off a whirlwind of challenges, but leading us to where we are today, which is interesting that we're celebrating the 4th of July right now because Brexit just happened, where the people of the UK said, hey, we're no longer going to be part of the European Union. So they are, I don't know if they're celebrating just yet because of the financial fallout recently, but perhaps someday Brexit will be a national holiday in the UK. So happy 4th of July, everybody. Let's go ahead and check in and see who we have. And Sylvia, thank you for joining. Brenda, hello. Carol, hello. Sabrina, hello. Miss Rowley, hello. Ida, hello. Melinda, hello. Mary, hello. Jeff, hello. Michelle, hello. And Chantal, hello to you. Thank you all for joining me. We have a lot of international people who watch this broadcast who are not in the United States, and I appreciate that. I'm sure you've heard of the 4th of July, though. We get all excited here, and a lot of fireworks are going to be happening today. And so I wanted to open the broadcast by reminding everyone of what we're actually celebrating, and have fun, but do it in a safe way. So hopefully, at least in America, you've got time off from work today, and you're able to celebrate and relax. So if you're just joining, go ahead and like this. It's a new broadcast. Go ahead and like it. Go ahead and share it. Those buttons should be down here. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. That should be up here. You'll get notifications of when I'm on next, and you'll be able to tune in. If you're on Facebook, they'll notify you so you don't have to sit around and wonder. They'll just let you know. Let's go ahead and check in some more. I'm here to take your questions, by the way, even though this is a holiday. No holiday for the questions. I'm here as your resource even today on the 4th of July. So if there's something on your mind, a question about hypnosis, something you want to share, feel free to do that. This is an open forum design. And let's go ahead and check in again. Mary, hello. Iwa, hello. And Sandrine, hello. And Sonia, Rosita, Melinda, and Angelica, Christian. Okay, and Christian says, oh no, you changed it up, wearing blue looks nice on you. Well, thank you. It's this is my Independence Day look. I don't have any red and white on me, but I do have some blue. So yeah, I changed it up a little bit, so thank you for noticing, Christian. Rena says, happy 4th of July. Thank you. Michelle says, I'm celebrating Brexit. I know things will settle, and don't take notice of those protesting. All those disappointed had the opportunity the first time round to have their vote. By the way, happy 4th of July. All right, Michelle. So Michelle, our Brexit fan, you've mentioned this before, so Michelle is strongly in favor of Brexit, and you got your wish. There have got to be some folks who are in favor of Brexit who just aren't, we don't hear about them in the news. All we hear about recently, at least all I've heard about since Brexit happened, it happened recently, is, oh no, what did we do? And so it's good to see someone owning up to it, Michelle. So whichever way it goes, and history will write itself. We'll see. But that's good that you did something and you own up to it. Amelia says, hello, Dr. Steve. Hello to you. Sizivia says, how are you? Fine, thank you. Tamara, hello to you. Ida, hello to you. And Miss Rowley, Hello to you. All right. And Celia, hi. And Edie, hello. Doing great here. And we are talking about just taking your questions about hypnosis. If you have any questions about hypnosis, I'm here to answer. I'm here to be your resource to help you understand hypnosis, to help you understand the subconscious mind. If you're interested in hypnosis, if you're using it, if you've never used it, if you just have questions about what it is or what it does, go ahead and throw out your question or your comment, and I'll be glad to handle it. Katrina says, Happy 4th. Hello to you. Tamara says, Happy 4th. Thank you very much. And so as we go into this is actually the end of the holiday weekend, so a lot of people have already done their celebrating, but today we're going to have a lot of fireworks, a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of celebration, and we want to remind everyone, we meaning the people who are responsibly thinking, want to remind everyone to have fun, but do it in a safe way. And a lot of people get into fireworks and do things that they shouldn't do and get into trouble. So just play it safe and have fun. Christian says, chemo is the worst. I hate it. Makes you sick. Okay, so Christian is going through chemotherapy, and my heart goes out to you, Christian, because my mother went through chemotherapy when she had leukemia. When I was 4 and 5 years old, she was going through that, and she had a very rough time of it. So Christian, my heart goes out to you, and hope everything works out very well. Technology is so much better now than it was in the 1970s when she had chemo, and so the doctors are able to do a lot more. So hopefully everything will be absolutely fine. If you're just joining us, go ahead and like this. Go ahead and share this. Those buttons should be down there. Go ahead and subscribe, and you will be notified when I come on next. Ida says, I love how the U.S. is very patriotic. I wish Canada was more like that. Well, Canada is speaking of the British Empire, Canada is under the British Empire. So Canada, I don't know how people in Canada feel about Brexit, but it does affect Canada in some way. And as I talked about at the top of the broadcast, at one point the British Empire controlled 1/4 of the land mass in the world. The British Empire was called the empire on which the sun never sets at one point, because they controlled so much around the world that at some point, at any given point in the day, the sun was shining somewhere on the British Empire. We're talking about New Zealand, India, Iraq, the United States, 13 colonies, Canada. So this was a large empire at one point, as I said, the largest empire in history. So I don't know how, I've never quite understood how that fits in for Canada, or if celebrating an Independence Day in Canada even works, because you are under the British Empire, which I'm not saying there's any problem with that. I'm just saying it's a different situation there. So here in the U.S., we just said, thanks but no thanks. We'll do our own thing, and so that's why we celebrate it. Americans, we like to do our own thing. But happy 4th of July, no matter where you are, no matter what you're celebrating. And getting back to hypnosis, since I do actually talk about hypnosis, if you have any questions about hypnosis or the subconscious mind, feel free to throw those out there. Enjoying this 4th of July, sharing a little bit of a history lesson, and just having a wonderful time here today. But I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or concerns, go ahead and throw them out there. I'll be glad to handle them. Let's go ahead and check in a little bit. Michelle says, I say what others are afraid to say regarding Brexit. Would you believe that people are afraid to say a lot of propaganda going round, say only stupid people voted out? I don't give in to political. All right, Michelle, I hear you. Obviously, you have a strong stance. Apparently, you voted for Brexit, and you're not ashamed of it. You own it. So I think that's great. I think that the UK is still going to have a tremendous struggle to go through. It's going to provide a lot of money for attorneys, of course, because now they've got to undo all that legal stuff that happened so long ago, because after World War II, of course, Churchill said, hey, let's all join together. Let's get together and make sure this type of situation doesn't happen again. And then the UK, of course, said, well, I think we're not going to be a part of that anymore. And so they left. So there's a lot to undo. And so, Michelle, more power to you, because there is a mountain to climb, and the world will be watching. Jennifer says, smile, you have a wonderful, awesome smile. Happy 4th. Thank you. Sabrina says, happy independence from Austria. Thank you very much. Jahira has joined. Hello. Katerina says, hello, Dr. Steve. Nice to see you. Thank you. Nice to see you too. Ida says, I think Brexit is great. Good for them. All right. Sandrine says, hi again from France. I'm practicing EFT, with emotional freedom technique, by the way. What about hypnotherapy? It should be more difficult. That's a question. It should be more difficult. With friends and my teenagers, we use EFT to have better life. Okay, so I think your question, Sandrine, is hypnotherapy more difficult than EFT? And it really depends on how you practice it. You know, I certify people in hypnosis. We have thousands of students around the world. You can go to hypnosiscertified.com, and there you'll find my hypnosis certification program. And then to your question about whether EFT is less or more difficult than hypnotherapy, it really depends on the way you're applying it. The way I teach hypnotherapy is very straightforward. There are 5 parts to it. The induction, the deepening, the script, amnesia, and transtermination. So very straightforward. That's how I teach basic hypnotherapy. In advanced hypnotherapy, we get into, of course, more advanced topics. But as far as basic hypnotherapy goes, I believe that if it's taught in a very straightforward way like I teach it, and like many other people teach it, it can be just as straightforward as EFT. But you really have to decide which one you like, or maybe you'll enjoy using both of them. Neelan says, hi, Dr. Steve. Happy 4th of July. Voice not good. Hope you are fine. Good morning. All right. Well, luckily, Neelan, you can just type in, and we'll be able to hear you just fine. Jahira says, happy 4th of July, Dr. Steve. Thank you. Christian says, Maria says, have done smoothies for diabetes. She is a type A. All right. Well, yeah, and I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not advocating any kind of anything for any situation, but that's potentially good to hear, and hopefully Maria is working with the help of a medical doctor to make sure that everything is being done the right way to make sure that she is controlling her diabetes. And Christy says, hello, Dr. Steve. I'm Christy. I really love to meet you, Dr. Steve. Well, thank you very much. Anna says, hello, Dr. Steve. Many people see hypnosis as a danger. Where is the fear come from? Well, I believe that you're correct. Many people are afraid of it. In fact, a lot of clients I've had are afraid of hypnosis because they think that the hypnotherapist can control their subconscious mind or make them do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do, things like that. Or they might go into a coma and never come out of hypnosis. These are just misconceptions which usually come from the world of Hollywood movies and even non-Hollywood movies, like Woody Allen, one of my directors and writers and producers. He's just unstoppable. He creates a new movie every year. But one of his movies a few years back was called The Curse of the Jade Scorpion. And in The Curse of the Jade Scorpion, Woody Allen was controlled by someone. And every time he picked up the phone and heard the word Madagascar, he had to rob a bank or rob his neighbor or something like that. So people get into their minds that, well, in this movie, Woody Allen was hypnotized to do something bad, robbing banks, robbing his neighbors. I can be hypnotized to do something bad. So it's not the way it works. When you see something in a movie, which is usually where this comes from, Anna, it doesn't mean it's reality. It's for entertainment. So you're not going to do anything that you wouldn't ordinarily do while you're in hypnosis, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, you're not going to go into a coma. A lot of people worry about that. What if nobody brings me out of hypnosis? Then I'll just stay in it forever, potentially. That doesn't happen. Remember, the stages of hypnosis are no different than the stages of sleep. So the deeper you go into hypnosis, the deeper you go into sleep. So you're simply going to sleep. And so when you're done with that, you will wake up at the end of a normal nap or a normal amount of sleep that you probably needed anyway. But in a hypnotherapist's office, you'll be awakened by the hypnotherapist because they will count you up because they need you out of the office because the next client has to come in. So no one's going to put you in a coma or let you stay into a coma. Even if you listen to a recording of hypnosis and you worry about that, you will just fall into a restful sleep, get the sleep you need, and wake up when you're done. And if you're really concerned, all you need to do is set an alarm for when you need to be up. Let's go ahead and check in. And by the way, if you're just joining, go ahead and like this, go ahead and share this. This button should be down here. go ahead and click on the notifications button so you'll be notified next time I'm on. And happy 4th of July for those just joining. Let's go ahead and check in. May, hello to you. Kathy, hello to you. Jane has joined. Michelle says, what I love about the U.S. is that people are encouraged to grow and better themselves. In other countries, people tend to look on in disgust if people drive around in flash cars and have a big house. Yeah, flash car, that's an interesting term. My friend Matthew Tolman, who was helping with the production of one of these broadcasts early on, he lives in Ireland. He is a producer in Ireland. So Matthew Tolman first introduced me to that phrase flash car because we're driving around in my luxury car and he referred to it as a flash car. And so it almost makes it sound like that term culturally is a negative thing. Like that's flashy. You're trying to be flashy, as if it's a negative thing. I don't know if that's the context in which it happens, in which that term developed in Ireland, but it sort of sounded like it. And so I wouldn't generalize like that, Michelle. I wouldn't say that every other country does things the wrong way and the U.S. does things the right way, even though a lot of people tend to think that way about their country. I think that a lot of countries reward diligence and moving forward, and especially intellectual pursuits and pursuits in science and math, things that really, really help people. A lot of countries are moving forward in all of that. So America does their part, everyone does their part, and everything works out. But thank you for mentioning that, Michelle. And let's go ahead and move on. Katerina says she can eat or drink very much things. She needs only insulin with food. All right. And Rashmika says, my family tells me I cry in sleep, as I know I have fear of losing my family in my subconscious mind. I understand it as I am a student of psychology, but I can't control it. Can you help me out as this fear is growing with age? Okay, so Rashmika, what I would recommend to you is to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist to work on that. The reason I say that is because it's not something very straightforward like stopping smoking or losing weight or making more money. It's something where you're going to have to really get into that. I mean, I could start questioning you here and ask you about why you're crying in your sleep and why you're worried about losing your family, but then we would get into a one-on-one discussion that would take a long time and really take up all our time. So we don't have the format to do that, unfortunately. So Rashmika, what I would recommend to you is to first of all, go to your family doctor and get a referral to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and talk about these things. Just have a few meetings and see how it goes and talk about these things. I think you'll get a tremendous amount of insight with that. Debbie says, can you share with us the origins of hypnosis? All right, well, at the beginning of the broadcast, we did a history lesson on the 4th of July and the British Empire. So the origins of hypnosis, I will probably not be going into because maybe we'll do a broadcast just for that, because if we start getting into now the history of hypnosis, the origins of hypnosis can be kind of lengthy. But I will tell you this. We have evidence from around the year 1850, as long ago as 1850, that dentists were using hypnosis to relax their patients. Can you imagine dentistry in the 1850s? Some people are scared of the dentist now. Imagine, 1850 going to the dentist when goodness knows what kind of tools they would have used and what kind of drugs they would not have had. And so they probably had a lot of people who are really on edge, and they used hypnosis. We have evidence of that now. So I'll give you that as a little teaser history lesson on hypnosis, and then perhaps in the future I'll do a broadcast on that. So thank you for asking that, Debbie. Jane says, hello, Dr. Steve. Happy Independence Day. Thank you. Same to you. Annie says, I hope you have a happy birthday, 4th of July. Dr. Steve G. Jones, missed you. Can you help me with my nervous disorder? I was just wondering. Okay, so nervous disorder, again, as I always say, your first line of defense should be your medical doctor. So Annie, I want you to, maybe they're not open today if you're in the US, but if you're not, they should be open today. You can go to your medical doctor, you can call them, you can schedule an appointment to talk about this. So anytime I hear something that sounds medical, I'm always referring people to go to their primary care physician. That's your first line of defense, and then you can discuss with them approaches, and they may recommend hypnosis or they may not. Now again, just like I told the other person, Andy, to get into the details of your nervous disorder would require a lot of questioning back and forth and would take away time from the rest of the group. But I do appreciate you asking that, and I'm going to go with my default answer on that one, which is talk to your medical doctor, and they should be able to get you some help. But I will say that I do have a lot of hypnosis recordings designed to relax you, to help you become less stressful, to help you become more confident, more motivated, more calm, and to teach you techniques for that. But your first line of defense, and he needs to be your medical doctor. And Jeff says, I'm mainly interested in hypnosis and altered states of consciousness. I received emails on your life coaching program, and honestly, I don't see myself as a life coach, but your emails are very interesting and getting my attention. Any thoughts or advice? Okay, let's see where the question was. I'm mainly interested in hypnosis and altered state of consciousness. Okay. Well, if you're interested in hypnosis and altered states of consciousness, I would recommend studying hypnosis. Again, I have a hypnosis certification program at hypnosiscertified.com, but there are a lot of hypnosis certifications online, not just mine. There are a lot of other organizations that have, and individuals that have perfectly good hypnosis programs where you can study it. Or you can do what I did when I was a kid in high school. I got a book on hypnosis, The Complete Guide to Hypnosis by Leslie Lecron. He was a PhD psychologist who's no longer with us, and his book was not really complete. It was a little paperback book, but it was a good primer. You know, it was a good introduction to hypnosis. So I recommend perhaps just going to a bookstore and looking through the selections on hypnosis books and picking up one, browsing through it, and if you like it, buy it and read it. Jeff, I think that would be a great idea. Marley says, good evening from Germany, Dr. Steve. Can you tell a little bit from astral projection? Astral projection is the concept, the theory, the idea that your soul is separate from your physical body and can travel in a conscious capacity and have experiences. That's what astral projection is. So thank you for asking about that, Marley. Something very interesting. Not everyone believes in that. Not everyone is in favor of that. Not everyone thinks it's real, but there does tend to be some therapeutic advantage in working with people who are into astral projection and allowing them to use that concept of separating their soul from their physical body to get more insights into themselves. So it's something that is at least a valuable tool when working with people hypnotherapeutically. And so that's your little bit about astral projection. And let's see. Sonia says, is it possible the hypnotherapy don't work in one person into much stress and anxiety? So I believe what you're asking, and again, I always appreciate non-native speakers of English asking their questions. Just throw it out there. I will figure out what you're asking. I don't want you to be shy. I want you to put it out there. So thank you, Sonia, for just going for it. And I believe your question is it possible for hypnotherapy to not work on stress and anxiety? Is it possible that it doesn't work? And of course it is possible that it doesn't work for an individual. Just there are no guarantees. Your medical doctor will tell you the same thing. Heart surgery, not guaranteed, doesn't work for everyone. A lot of things, a lot of treatments in mainstream medicine don't work for everyone. And so hypnosis is no different than that. It's not going to get everyone where they want to be. So I say give it a shot because it's safe, it's simple, and when it does work, it's highly effective, drug-free. When you get a recording, you don't have to go into anyone's office. You don't have to schedule a visit to go somewhere and share everything and drive through traffic and schedule time from your day. You just listen to a hypnosis recording at night. So when it does work, it's beautiful and amazing and wonderful and fast, but it doesn't always work, just like everything else. So thank you, Sonia, for that question. Christian says, and she wants more smoothies with no broccoli. She said gross. Believe me, Christian, everyone I make a broccoli smoothie for says gross, especially when I combine the broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I have difficulty with that. And I have found, by the way, don't make a smoothie with just Brussels sprouts. I mean, I never make a smoothie with just Brussels sprouts, but what I mean is as the vegetable. I use 2 cups of vegetables in each of my smoothies. I found that if I use 2 cups of just Brussels sprouts, it's a bit much, and it actually upsets my stomach. So I understand, hey, you've got to tailor your smoothies to what works for you. I sometimes just power through it because I know these vegetables are good for me. I'm not going to take the time to cook them separately and prepare them and eat them. I'm going to throw them in a blender. For me, it's like magic. It's just wonderful. It's amazing. I can drink them all. I love it. Not for everyone, so I understand that. So thank you for sharing that, Christian. Christine says, hey, a blue t-shirt, nice. All right, well, thank you for noticing. Yes, I am wearing a blue t-shirt for the 4th of July. I don't have any red and white, but I've got some blue t-shirt and a blue jacket. And Michelle says, my own opinion is that hypnosis is a great thing. Our brain is the most complex organ in our body, not too different to the hard drive of a computer, and sometimes it needs to be sorted and decluttered. Absolutely. Very well put, Michelle. Thank you. Anna says, thank you, Dr. Steve, for your answer. You're very welcome, Anna. Carol says, no black t-shirt today. That's right, no black t-shirt today. I'm taking a break from the black t-shirts today. Hey, who knows? Maybe I'll show up here with different color t-shirts from time to time. Don't want to overdo it. And I really don't have much. I don't know if there's a gene for that, or if people learn it, how to match colors. I'm not very good at that. That's not really my strength. So I usually stick to black t-shirts, keep it simple and straightforward. So Joan says, I did past life regression once by my therapist. Went back to 4 years old, and the pain that a little girl felt, my adult body could barely contain. Never doing that again. Okay, so anytime you do regression of that nature, regressing to the source of something, you feel something is wrong in your life and you're regressing to that source to try to figure out what happened, what made me this way, what caused me to react that way, why do I do these things now? So when you're regressing to the source, I always recommend that you don't do that with a hypnotherapist, because hypnotherapists like myself, we're usually not licensed professionals by the state or federal government. You need to go higher. You need to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a mental health therapist, licensed therapist of some sort, marriage and family therapist, someone who is not only licensed, but they're also qualified in hypnosis and specifically in regression. Ideally, you should go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Probably don't need a psychiatrist for that, but you do at least need a psychologist. And the reason I say that is because when you regress someone to the point at which something happened, looking for the root cause of something, oftentimes it's something horrible that happened to them, that their brain is repressing on purpose so that they can continue on with their lives. It's sort of like putting a patch on something, but a very powerful patch that's not meant to come off, and you're going in there and ripping it off. There's going to be some outfall from that. There's going to be, and in fact, there can be legal implications too. Hey, Uncle so-and-so did such and such, and I'm going to sue. So you don't want to involve a hypnotherapist in that. If you're a hypnotherapist, I recommend you do not take those kinds of cases. Refer them to the people who are highly trained to deal with the fallout from that, which would be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So thank you for mentioning that, Joan. And Magdalena says, hello, Dr. Steve, I'm glad I see you here again. Well, thank you very much. And would one of my viewers be so kind as to tell me the time here in the West, in the Pacific time zone? If someone could throw out the time in the Pacific time zone. Facebook, unfortunately, no longer gives me a printout of the time, so I try to keep these about a half an hour, but since it's a holiday, I don't have my timer in front of me. I'm not being very official with it. So if someone could just throw out the time, the Pacific time right now, let me know so I can know how much time we have left in this broadcast. And if you're just joining, go ahead and like this, go ahead and share this, go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and click the little button up here, should be up there, where you'll be notified of future broadcasts. And let's see, Magdalena says, hi, hello. Katarina says, is it possible to hypnotize a person who is sleeping? Well, yes, but don't do it, because it sounds like if you're hypnotizing someone who's sleeping, you're doing it without their permission, and you should never hypnotize someone without their permission. So I've never done that because it's something that you wouldn't have permission for, and it's also not practical. You know, someone comes into my office and says, okay, hypnotize me while I'm sleeping. Here, I'm going to go ahead and fall asleep. Then I have to wait for them to fall asleep. So you can see why it's not practical for me to do it as a professional hypnotherapist. For you, it's not practical either. Well, perhaps it's practical, but it's not a good idea because it sounds like you would do that without their consent. But is it possible? Yes, I believe it is entirely possible because the stages of sleep are no different than the stages of hypnosis. We have alpha, theta, and delta, and those are the stages of hypnosis and the stages of sleep. Same exact scale. So when they are asleep, they are in hypnosis. But I would say, don't do it. Ida says, I agree with Christine. Nice shirt, and it brings out your eyes. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I think I have a little bit of blue around the perimeter of my eyes, so thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that. Ida says, can hypnosis help with sleepwalking? Absolutely. You know, sleepwalking is referred to as somnambulism, and in hypnosis we like to see somnambulists, people who are, it literally means sleepwalkers, but really in hypnosis we mean that to be highly suggestible people. So, but you're talking about curing that. You're talking about stopping sleepwalking. And yes, hypnosis can help with that. So thank you, Ida. So find yourself a professional hypnotherapist. Talk to your doctor first. Make sure there's no medical condition relating to that, and then ask them for their blessings to go see a hypnotherapist. Ms. Rowley says, thank you, Steve. I hope to go see you on Wednesday. Thank you. And he says, you hypnotize me with your voice. You have a beautiful Dr. Steve G. Jones. Well, thank you, Annie. I appreciate you saying that. Michelle says, Steve, not sure how much you know about dreams, but I have heard when people dream about falling over and waking up, it's because of the blood pressure suddenly dropping. That's possible. There are a lot of theories on dreams, Michelle. I do have some programs. If you Google Steve G. Jones dreams, you'll find some programs I have about that. But I'm not a dream expert, even though I provided a basic program for that, for dream interpretation, just basic dream interpretation. And mostly in that program, I'm teaching you how to read the code of your own mind. Debbie says, happy 4th. Thank you. Zane says, hi. Hello to you. And I'm going to scroll forward here to see if someone throughout the time. 12:30. All right. Thank you very much. We're going to wrap up, but I'm going to go ahead and check in with the last few people. And I'm going to take one more question. And so Sylvia says, reflectivity would project their dreams come true, repressed desires. I'm not exactly understanding that. And as the last question, let's go ahead and move on to something else, but feel free to rephrase that question in the future. Annie, goodbye. Thank you for joining. Brenda, happy 4th to you. Lori, just add strawberries, kiwi, and stevia. Will be good. All right, thank you. Zane says, what is the difference between regular hypnosis and clinical hypnosis? All right, so we'll end on that question. Now, regular hypnosis and clinical hypnosis, there really is no difference, in my opinion. Clinical hypnosis is something, like I call myself a clinical hypnotherapist, for example. And I do that to make it very clear that I work with people in a professional setting, helping them do things such as lose weight, stop smoking, and things of that nature. So if I were to call myself a hypnotist, which in some states in the United States, I would be required to call myself a hypnotist. I could not say hypnotherapist because some states in the United States of America do not like that unless you are a licensed therapist. So in some states, I would have to call myself a hypnotist. So they can be exactly the same thing, Zane. Now, where I will draw a distinction is you can do hypnosis and you can do hypnotherapy. Now, in my view, hypnosis would be putting someone into the hypnotic state. So they're in hypnotic state, they're in hypnosis, but you haven't done anything. You haven't necessarily done anything to help them. You haven't helped them lose weight, you haven't helped them stop smoking, you haven't helped them be more motivated, so you haven't done hypnotherapy. There's no therapy involved. So when you add the script part, the script is where you're programming them after you've got them in hypnosis, and before you bring them out of hypnosis, you're programming them to do something or change something or be something or believe in something. And so that's the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy, the way I teach it. So thank you for that question, Zane, that last question. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My apologies if I didn't get to you, but thank you so much. If you have a question that you threw out there that I didn't get to, I apologize. Jump in next time. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, approximately 12 noon Pacific time to approximately 12:30 Pacific time. I'm glad to answer your questions. If I didn't get to yours, just jump on a little earlier and throw it right out there. I hope everyone has a very happy, safe, and wonderful 4th of July, and whatever country you're in, whatever you're doing today, I hope you have a wonderful time. I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, hoping you have an outstanding day.